Well, I hope this is working, guys. Coming to you from a little bit of a different rig setup here. Trying to improve the channel as we go, and so we have a couple of great topics today. We have VOGU is partnering with Chainlink, and if you don't know what Chainlink is, take a step back into the world of DeFi and sort of one of those blue chips in crypto that you should really think about owning. No financial advice. I do own it myself. It was one of the first cryptos I got outside of, I think Bitcoin and Ethereum. It was like, that seemed like people were going to use it. That and Filecoin, pretty big on, because the use factor of it are incredible. And you can see how VOGU and NFTs eventually will have to start to rely on these types of services in decentralized finance to expand. And so we'll show VOGU hooking up with Chainlink. Talk about Nifty DJs. Okay, we'll talk about a little bit about Onis and sort of massive drop. Again, they're in that reveal stage. So they've minted, and it was a big, massive mint. They have nearly 15,000 probably on their Discord, if not more, just because of the hype surrounding it. And they've done so well with that that they've actually created a strength in the secondary market. And so in the secondary market, you have growth, within the reveal stage. And so we talk about it on the channel. You can buy at mint. You can buy at the pre-reveal stage. You can hear just the fire alarms burning for just how explosive Onis has been in a marketplace that I would say NFT-wise is a bit quiet. There's so many projects that are releasing, but I think a lot of us are having liquidity problems, honestly, right? It's just like I've got you can see here the horses, the glue horse factory. I think is going to be a great thing. I still got my Degenz, and I'll talk at the end about Degenz because I think they're still doing a fantastic job of trying to bring value, as creators to their audience. And so you can see sort of like, we're all getting sort of deeper and deeper, and to sell them requires the selling phase. I suck at that. I do. I just I don't like parting with things I think are cool. And if I do, I want a decent price for it. But let's be honest, it's just you can only really sell on the floor if you need to quickly. Is getting sort of a as if we're doing VOGU, getting a toaster head. That's why I think the toaster heads were so invaluable to that project, because they're clearly part of the floor. For some reason, nobody quite likes the fact that they don't have the antennas on them, but there's a simplicity to them, and there's a culture to them that I think is really fantastic within the Discords. People are proud of having those, but they're also very liquid, and you can drop those onto the floor, and wherever the floor may be, it's going to sell relatively, and so in terms of a general market moving type of device, it's having a toaster head is actually quite awesome. Now, if you want to move into the Animetas, it's it gets a bit more specialized, doesn't it? You start looking at the glasses and stuff, in terms of my collection of them, and that's hard to sell for me on the floor. The great thing I showed yesterday was that Animetas has a liquidity pool that allows you as an owner to just sell at the floor. And they've set the floor at what they call 1 anime, which is equal to about 1/3 of an ETH. And so you're selling, for about $1,000 if you want to get out. And, it's a really nice way, again, of allowing without gas fees, allowing liquidity within the project. And I think I showed how I picked up one off of, their floor, which had considerable rarities. I thought was super cool, and he looked like Wolverine. I called him Wolvie Cyclops. He looks like if Wolverine and Cyclops were fused by Jean Grey. If she wanted to create the perfect lover, she would fuse those two. And my guy looks like Wolverine and Cyclops in one. And so I don't have him on the turnstile here, but let's jump in to today. We have Oni, I wanted to play with here. So Oni, hey, there's that Mike Tyson launch. If there is one, like that I like, yeah, for me, I think there's a lot coming out right now. It's a bit. I don't really see the long-term value. Oni's included. I'll be honest. I think they're a great community that is hot. It's a hot community right now, and as cool as that is, I'm not seeing the roadmap. I'm not seeing an understanding of creators being vocal. They're still part of that hidden creator mindset that they're just like, oh, they're creating like personalities outside of their own to then run something that gives me a sense of unconfidence. Something with the Mike Tyson thing is like, Mike Tyson, you know this artist even potentially, and so when they combine, I just think this is such a great project. I think the art is quite beautiful, and it, if you were a fan of Iron Mike back in the day, or even today, I think he's such a character. Dude tries to keep it positive. I mean, he could be in a really bad place right now, like in jail, like he could hurt some people and do some real time because he's just a freaking killer in terms of his instincts and what he's been trained with. He could kill somebody easily, and so trying to stay positive. Probably a lot of weed. It's he's found a way to exist, and I think also engage in culture. Just showing up in crazy movies and doing things that I think are just beneficial for humans. Engaging in culture. I was reading this really nice quote of creators having this need to make up for a sense of loss that we've perhaps had in our own lives, and I've always felt like that really rang true for me because I'm just like that's when I love making something is when I feel a sense of maybe I've whatever it's like breakups or whatever sort of losing something in my life. I want to create something, and so maybe this is why. Let's get deep here. I really want to create some NFT content with you guys. So come on down, bring these things. I'm going to show you right after this Nifty DJs, which I think has a lot of potential. They're not quite hitting it, and I'll show you why. But let's look at Onis. Look at these Onis. If we would have bought together yesterday, we could have saved $300. At least floor looks like about 0.59, and they're still in that discovery phase. You could pick one of these up off the floor right now and get a massive rarity. You don't know what you're getting. That's kind of awesome, and it's kind of a gamble. So you can see how the community has broken that floor up. So it was on a bit of a free fall, but look at how steady that is, and now a growth into that. And that's something I saw with Junkyard Dogs, and something we saw with Junkyard Dogs was we were following it, and they did a week of reveals. So I feel like this reveal stage is a very important one within the life cycle, the beginning stages of a life cycle of an NFT. And so you have this ability to create speculation, and you have people who have the opportunity to get involved. And look at that number, 3,000 owners. That is pretty freaking massive, right? We're in terms of like you have about 7,777, and for the number of owners, the individual wallets to be 3,000. Is something that I think a lot of projects look to as a metric of like, okay, so there isn't just one person who owns, 100, and they could move the market in a sense by losing faith in the project, because this is so decentralized, and it's part of why we love decentralization and we love blockchain and NFTs is this idea of decentralization, and so it's the fruits of which are an example here, where you have so many different owners. It's going to be hard for the market to just tank. Sometimes I hate coming to open seas, and let's check out like open seas right here. Hey, we want to check out. Can't even get in there. Oh, I can't even get in there. Sorry guys, I'm still learning this stuff. But like you go into open seas and like. VOGU's tanked by like whatever one. It's not like that. That's a project, a good example of one. But there are a lot that could potentially tank. I feel like I saw it with Junkyard Dogs. Trying to think. There's several, because when you have that liquidity and sort of that speculation, you end up not having much control, not feeling like you don't have control in that marketplace, and that sort of sucks, honestly. But with Oni, it's really already spread out and diversified in terms of its ownership, and that's kind of amazing how quickly this has gone into 3,000 wallets. Again, this is something that they worked on really early, and I think is enviable for a lot of creators. And it's something that as creators sometimes we have problems with, because we're trying to make the thing and at the same time get the audience, and that's from filmmaking to being an author or a painter, the fan side of things and the creation side of things. For me, it's like two sides of the brain in a sense, and so I try and engage as much as I can, but it's very difficult to balance at times. And so let me show you guys the VOGU Chainlink. So I briefly mentioned, I'm just going to go over this really quick, just because I think it's an important thing that VOGU is doing is they're partnering with MetaKey, and they're partnering with Chainlink. This is kind of the shortcut. I was having a discussion on Animetas, with some of the people on the Discord there, and it's kind of like a down cycle feeling right now for a lot of people who own NFTs that are potential gaming opportunities, and having their characters playing a game. Certainly, as you saw, I don't know if you guys saw it with my Evaverse. You got your character. They even have these sort of platforms that you can play with, but those platforms are probably something that's already existing, and so it was a bit of a Roblox sort of feel, the game, and not a great one. Even the Roblox games are way more inventive, and so there's just this time of hey, is this a game, or is this a metaverse play? What is it? And so VOGU, I don't think it's pulling any punches. It's not like, I think Animetas again has that monkey on his back of okay, now we got to come up with a cool game. That is really hard to do. Come up from scratch. I'm going to come up with a really cool game. That is very, very hard to do. And I think that they and here where I'm showing VOGU, they really are pushing to say, hey, we're just going to partner with existing metaverses, with existing games. Cities, they're partnering with another one. They made a slight hint at it, and I'm sure there will be a release soon, but it's a bit of a strategy game. I checked it out. I quite don't get it. I don't understand how VOGU's play into it, but again, because of its popularity, they created the popularity. Much like this is why I think Onis have a lot of potential here as well. They have a massive popular NFT that platforms want to bring onto their universe, their metaverse, and so these guys are just fielding offers, and it's kind of nice to be in the VOGU Discord, because you're just getting how do I find out about the latest hottest NFTs? They're giving them to you, they're dropping them to you, because they want to say, oh gosh, VOGU's that's really popular, here, check out my thing, my Bored Penguins Club. And so they'll I think obviously there's a filter that the VOGU moderators allow or disallow certain things to come through, but you get to, if you're simple to enter, you click, and you're probably one out of 700, and they're probably going to drop 5, maybe 3, but you have an opportunity, A, to get exposure to new projects, and B, win them. And so I just want to drop things to you, because when you're in these popular projects, other projects want to expose themselves, and yes, in that dirty way, I'm sure, to VOGUs, or to I'm sure Bored Ape Yacht Club is just knee deep in NFT pitches and stuff. So it's an interesting time for those projects. So I wanted to step into Nifty DJs because I think that they do something. They could be so good. And so, I just wanted to show, like, they're not banging in terms of membership. Look, it's 422 members. And I would say, like, oh, yeah, we're getting in real early. I think their drop is in 5 days. Let's see. It's very soon. And so they're probably, like many projects that I'm following, are not going to get to, what they believe is the finish line of having a sellout, having a mint sellout within, 30 minutes. They're not going to get that. I think they're going to go to mint, and unless they get some massive. See, this is the potential of this, though. If they get a DJ, they're like, hey, I think this is cool. That's it. They're in. They're in. It's just like it's going to raise the level of interest, a lot more than I think 400 people, and I think that's very possible because here's the play. It's DJs, and I think there's a culture to that of EDM, and who doesn't love a good show? And so it has a potential there, because for me, I'm still looking out there for something that's incorporating music on this like cutting edge NFT use case where they're utilizing music, because I think that hasn't been really done yet well. I think Fluff did it okay. I dig the tracks on Fluff, and I think Fluff is going to allow you to interchange on your NFT, which I think is super dope. But here, I think they have something, but I don't think they understand the community building part of it. I think there's some talented people here, and I think that's probably the takeaway. So I'm introducing you to this not as like a, hey, go, try and get in this project. I do think they're doing amazing work, and I think that, through this process, I just want to showcase that there are people working here. There's artists working here that are worth a watch and worth following. And so I'll go through just some of the features. It's a basic roadmap. They're minting the 23rd, so we got 3 days to their mint, and they're just not going to make a sellout, and that's just not going to happen. If you think it's cool, get in on it, because I think there's a couple of projects. There's one Slacker Beards or something like that. I think it's a fun little project. It's quirky animation. I kind of dig the art. It's a very limited point of view, but I think it's fun. But you can go to their page today and mint it. Or you can go to OpenSeas, and it's like 0.01, so you can collect it, and I think that it's accessible, and I think that there's something nice about that, having an accessibility, and then you can enter into the Discords, and if it's your vibe, stick with the project. And so I start going through some of the creators here, and I think you have the DJ component to it, and I think you have the artist component to it, and right in the middle here is Alex, and he is a holder of 3 CryptoPunks, apparently, according to his Twitter. And but he's probably the most legit, because he hasn't. Both of the other creators have they're still stuck in that mode of like, oh, I don't know if I want to be fully known as the person part of this project. Alex is like, this is me. This is what I do. I help develop drops, and he has other projects. And so I go into his other projects, and I think it looks like one called Template. He's working on, again, in that music space. Like, there's nobody in the Discords, and I think they dropped today or tomorrow, and it's not going to sell out. There's even a sort of a disclaimer in here that says like, hey, if this doesn't get to 25%, we'll refund everybody's money. And I think that's kind of great in a very cool experimental way, because if they're not, their idea might be good. It's tough for me really when I look at the template breakdown. I quite don't understand it. I understand they're trying to incorporate something that's, this is another thing, guys, of membership. And so you could potentially have membership I think they're trying to add rarities into membership, and I don't know if it quite works, but this is awesome that they're working in this space. I was just kind of thinking about it because there's a couple of NFT owning membership sites, and those are, man, I tell you, I saw sort of one of their recent, like, oh, this is our awesome insider information that you pay, a few grand to, kind of like this friends with benefits. I don't know if you guys know, is a coin that you can own, and it puts you onto, a server that allows you to discuss, insider information. To be fair, they're fairly well researched. They go and they look for stuff, and but the stuff that I saw, I was just like, I wasn't impressed. I was like, oh yeah, well, I've been following that for a while. So instead of paying thousands of dollars, guys, for these memberships, like and subscribe here on this channel, and hit the bell notification too, because again, I want these things to hit you guys so that we're still in certain phases of mints, so you can get in at mint, so you can get in at reveals. You're not going to know because, like I said, it's just like you're going to get this on some sort of feed after watching Elliot Trades like talk about like, oh my gosh, how many gajillion dollars he's made with Nifty DJs, and he's like, oh, it's the coolest project and it's all sold out, and I sold mine for 1 ETH each, and then I'm going to pop up from like 6 weeks ago, and you're going to be like, oh crap, like I could have got in on that because I love DJs, I love music or whatever. And so there's reasons why I ask for these things. Would love to grow the channel and develop opportunities to get to meet everybody. Okay, so I'm going to check in with Degenz really quick. And because I think they're doing, this is why I look for creators that are a bit more open with who they are, a bit more honestly talented. So the level of talent that this group has, these are actual comic book creators, and so Degenz has not been doing well at all, since its mint. It's been just fudded, and I explained in the channel how that happened, and it was super hot, and things hit, and because they're such an open community, they allowed the FUD to just like knock them down because there was a lot of problems with the mint, people who couldn't get into the mint, and so they start complaining, and then like people who aren't happy with the thing they got, they're not happy with Rarity Tool's rating of the thing they got. And so a lot of the FUD starts to really bury down projects, and this is a prime example. But they have an amazing artist. They have an amazing comic book artist. And so through this process, and a great team, I think, that's also thinking about how to bring value. And so they've done burns to limit the number of NFTs that are available. And then now they're going to do what's called a Degenz. I've not seen anybody do this. You can take two of yours that you don't want anymore, and instead of trying to sell them for, you can get a new NFT as part of a new collection, sort of augmenting the existing collection to some degree. But I think it's great because they're making it part of a narrative. And so when you have narrative, you have narrative potential. You have in this team a comic book artist who can create strips and create out of it like this idea of I think this has been termed JPEG summer sometimes, just how hot NFTs have gotten, and for good friggin' reason. So, but in this storyline, it's like Degenz they're not worthy. They're just like they're not worthy, and it's kind of like a bit raw and honest of like of their own criticisms, and so. Saying that there was too many humans, and so because I think there was something like 80%, 70% humans, which became almost common, and so those sort of common cards, if you will, relating back, hello card collectors, are just like like there's just way too many humans, and so they're gonna burn them all. You can see. They're going to burn the humans, and I think a lot of the humans are going to go. You have these other types, like the rarer types, they're probably going to get retained, and I think that's so interesting because, then maybe those become the commons. So it's an interesting way of manipulating the marketplace, but you're trying to add value to your property. But because you have talented people working with you and you have a dedicated core base, because I think I show, like, maybe there's 2,500 or so left in the Discord. I mean, that's down from a lot. They probably have around 6,000 when they released to get that big pump. But as people sort of found that they weren't making instant money, it wasn't always constantly mooning, so they didn't know how to, work the marketplace, and it wasn't rebounding instantaneously because there was nothing really to do that, even though they had set, certain protocols to try and maintain value by, burning and buying up the floor. It just didn't work. And so with this remaining community, it's, they're still looking at how to create. And again, as I was talking about, that sense of loss, I mean, that sort of sucks. Like, if you're working hard on anything, whether it's a movie or, whether it's a song, and like it just doesn't hit the way you want it to. You hope for it, but it just doesn't hit. And so, that hurts, and there's a sense of loss in that. But I love how this team is taking that and turning it into art. And it's just like, that's a real artist to me. And so I think that's worth keeping an eye out and people's attention, because it's inspirational, as an artist. And so yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. Please like and subscribe. I hope this is not too delayed horribly. We're working out some tech stuff. You might see me in New York in different backgrounds soon, but I'm trying to figure out the tech stuff here, and appreciate you guys working with me, hitting me up in the comments, and giving me messages of inspiration to keep going, and to keep trying to reveal sort of what I see here on the front line.